Hey everybody, Rauderberg69 back with you doing another Eurofly 3 video. I'm part of the Blind Gaming Club and we do these videos to help some of our members learn how to fly the planes. So today we're going to be doing the first of the Category 2 planes, the SAAB 340. It's a twin turboprop aeroplane, no APU or anything like that, so not a jet plane. So we're going to fly that one today. There's a few new processes that you need to learn, so we'll get into it and start learning those. So let me start the training.
World training.
Enter. Training dialog. Practice flights combo box. Filter edit. Training combo box. SAAB 340 State of Queensland Gladstone Igla.
Okay, so that's the airport I'm at. I'm back in Australia. As I'm Australian, I enjoy flying around Australia because I hear lots of places that I've been to. So we'll get into that.
Enter. OBS Australia and Oceania Australia -0. Dashboard.
Steering controls ready.
Okay, just a quick note, as per usual, I use an Xbox game controller to do a lot of the flying of the plane. So that's why you heard the steering controls ready. That's just telling me my controller's there. The other way I do things is I do a lot of voice commands because I don't like pushing the keys. So I've got a program called Voice Attack that I've set up to do the voice commands, and it does all my keystrokes for me, well, most of them. So again, I don't tell you the keys because most of the time I don't know what they are because I don't use them regularly enough. The ones that I do know, I will tell you, but if I don't know it, I'm not going to try and guess it. Just confuses you more. Press the Alt-H for Harry and go into the help files and have a look at the keystrokes there if you ever need to find them out. It's very quick and very easy. Okay, so like I said, we're in the SAAB 340, which is the first of the Category 2 planes. Firstly, it has 2 engines. Secondly, there's a lot more airport stuff that you need to do. And thirdly, I'll actually be starting from the hangar today to give an idea of how that works, because there is actually new taxiways that you need to learn in these planes as well. And we'll go over those in a second. So I'll get the plane started and get it so I can do the checks and everything, and then we'll move on from there. Start up.
Computer on. Strobe
Seat
lights
belt
on. Fastened. Taxi lights on. Cabin lights on. Landing lights on. Radio on. Transponder on.
Primary startup complete. Please connect to nearest tower, then complete your flight plan, then complete next checklist using command, checklist 2. Press 9 for radio frequency.
9. Combo box. Gladstone ground control 119.6.
Okay, just the first thing that you need to know here, now you have a ground control and an approach control, because you're dealing with ground crews now, because these planes you can't do anything really yourself. You have to be refueled by the tower, all that sort of stuff. So when you first start on the ground, you have to contact ground control, and then when you're ready to take off, you contact approach control to get permission to get on the runway and everything. I'll just show you that by arrowing down.
Gladstone approach control 118.8.
So that's how you check them to get
Gladstone ground control 119.6.
them. Okay, let's set that.
Escape. Escape.
Set radio frequency.
Set frequency 11889. 119. Period. 556. Gladstone ground control. Edit.
SK400. Welcome to our airport.
Okay, now we're connected to the radio. We've been welcomed to the airport. I'll just show you that I'm sitting in the hangar because I'll check my location with longitude, latitude.
Minus 350 hangar. Minus 50 hangar.
That's it, it's telling me I'm in the hangar. So I will have to open the hangar and everything to get out. There is buttons for that, so you'll have to find them out. Alt-H for Harry to get into your help files. But I'll do hangar door status.
Hangar doors closed. Vertical bar north.
So the hangar door is to the north, and I am facing
North.
north, so I'm facing the hangar door. Now, just an important thing to note, when you're coming out the hangar in airports with taxiways, you will always come out onto what's called mic, Now that's your hangar, always the taxiway to the hangar. But you've just got to be careful, and because Mike always runs north-south, always. So if you're facing west when you're coming out of the hangar, you need to turn either direction to get to Mike. Some airports have Mike 1, some airports have Mike 1 and 2. Just depending on how large the airports are, they might have Mike 3 as well. I'm not sure, I've never been to an airport that big, but this one just has a Mike, so and we're already facing north, so we know we'll come out of the hangar and we'll just travel straight down Mike. But just be careful on ones that if it says you're facing west or east, when you come out of the hangar you need to turn to a direction to go north or south onto that runway. Usually it's north. I've never had to turn south onto Mike, so just telling you the important things. The next important thing, when you have Mike, you always have Zulu. Now Zulu is what you use, that's the Zulu taxiway. You always use Zulu to approach the stands or gates. So, and it always runs east-west, always. They never change. Mike's north-south and Zulu is east-west, and Zulu is always off Mike. So I'll point that out as we're travelling up Mike today, and you'll see what I mean by where it's located along Mike. So, alright, just thought I'd get that out of the way, but before we go any further, we'll open the hangar door because we don't want the hangar closed up while we start this plane up and fill the thing with carbon monoxide and poison ourselves. Open hangar door. We'll just wait for that to open, and then I'll start getting this plane set up.
Hangar doors open.
Okay, it's a big door. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is check my fuel.
2,879 liters.
I do have a lot, but I'm going to fill up just so you can see how this all works. So I need to contact the tower to get fuel, and you can't have the engines running when you get fuel. When they first started the game you could, but now you can't. So beta definitely improves things. So let's call the tower and get the fuel truck on the way, because it will take a little while, and then we'll set up our flight plan while we're waiting for that.
Combo box. Board dash asking for boarding. Engines dash asking for permission to start the engines. Fuel dash asking for fuel. Enter. Set fuel amount edit.
Okay, and I know this plane takes 3,600 litres, so I'm just going to fill it up to the top by just typing in a large number. It can't be overfilled, so I'm just going to, I know it's got 2,000 litres in it, so I'm just going to put in 2,000 more.
0, 0, 0.
And that way it will just fill it to the top.
Enter. Edit.
We'll just wait until he tells us he's sending it, just to make sure.
SK400. We've dispatched the refueler for
Okay,
you.
so the refuel is dispatched. Now today we're flying a short flight to the next closest airport to us. So I'm just going to bring up the map list by nearest to furthest by pressing Control F8.
Combo box. State of Queensland Gladstone dash Igla left paren 0 kilometers right
That's
paren.
where we are now, State of Queensland at Gladstone Airport. It's only a small airport, but big enough for this plane, so we're just going to arrow down.
State of Queensland Hervey Bay dash YHBA left paren 233 kilometers 134 right 16 minutes right
Okay.
paren.
So this is the airport we're going to. They're refueling us. Yay! I'll just let that finish. There we go, that's a quick 2,000 litres, but we've been refueled. I'll check that in a minute. But yes, we're travelling to Hervey Bay, so it's 233 kilometres away from us. It'll be a short flight, but a longish flight, so I'll try and keep you occupied during the flight. So now we press spacebar to add this to our waypoints, and I'll show you the difference to the small planes to the Category 2 planes. So I'll add that now.
Added to navigation.
Right, as you heard it said added to navigation. Before, in the small planes, it would say added as destination. So I'm currently still in the
State of New
list.
South Wales, State of New South
I
Wales,
can
State of New South Wales,
add
Newcastle dash
more.
YWLM left paren 991 kilometers 177 right 1 hours 9 minutes right paren.
I can add more waypoints, so, but right now I'm not going to. I'm just going to escape out.
Escape. Edit.
So that closes that list. But because these planes are Category 2, they actually have what's called a navigation computer, which is separate to the computer itself. So to get to that, you need to press the tab key to tab between the panels. We're on the dashboard right now.
Navigation, route combo box. Hervey Bay left, Paran 233 kilometers, 134 right, 26 minutes right, Paran.
Okay, so now we're on the navigation screen.
Hervey Bay left, Paran.
We can scroll through there because later on I will add a waypoint to that for the end of the runway, and I will show you a shortcut key to make it so that you can move the navigation waypoints up and down in the list for the autopilot, because this plane has an autopilot. So now to get back to the dashboard, it's just tab again.
Dashboard, dashboard.
Okay, we're back to the dashboard now. Right, so I don't want to go too far in this plane, but we'll quickly check the plane stats. I know what they are because I'm actually on my last flight for this plane. I'm on the 10th flight. So I'm about to be licensed for this plane and get the next plane. So I'll just quickly open that up just to show you some stuff with this. So we'll press Control enter.
Combo box. Pilot Roderberg 69
Now,
SKMT SAAB 340. Transport plane certified. Pushback required. Condition 100. Last system check. Number of seats, colon 34. Number of passengers, colons, wingspan, colon 21. Length, colon, wingspan, colon 21 meters.
It's a reasonable size
Length, colon
plane.
20 meters. Bass weight, colon, current weight, colon, cruising speed, colon 522 kmph.
That's cruise is pretty quick.
Maximum cruising range, colon 1,732 kilometers.
So it doesn't travel very far though, but it's still far enough. We're not going
Maximum
far.
cruising altitude, colon 7,620 meters.
Now this is getting very important in these planes because when you're flying these flights in the free mode or the company flights or whatever, you will need to get up to these altitudes to save some fuel, because the higher the altitude, the less fuel you seem to burn. We've done a little bit of testing and it does seem to affect it, so I always check that altitude now, and I do get higher now than what I normally do in the small planes. So that says we can fly at 7,600 meters.
Maximum cruising altitude, colon 7,620 meters.
So 7,620 meters. I wouldn't go to that exact height, but I'd get up to 6,000 or 7,000 meters when I'm flying. So we'll do that today, and I'll show you some other stuff you need to learn as well.
Flap positions, colon 0/4.
So it's got 4 flap positions.
Spoiler positions, colon 0/4.
Now we have spoilers on this plane. I'm going to show you a little trick with the landing with this, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. You can still use the slow down to stall, just above stall speed, and land that way if you like, whatever's easier for you.
Base takeoff speed, colon 196 kmph.
Okay, so now that we're full, the base takeoff speed is 196 kilometers an hour because we're full of fuel. I believe when it's not full of fuel, it's 194, but that doesn't matter.
Base landing speed, colon 194 kmph.
Landing speed's 194, so you shouldn't really try landing above that speed anyway. Below it is fine, but above it isn't really that good. You can be a little bit above it, I think within like 10 kilometers an hour or something.
Stall speed, colon 240 kmph.
Now we're getting high in the stall speeds, 240. That means I'm going to definitely need flaps to take off, because the runway here at Gladstone, I believe, is 1,690 meters, and getting up to 240 kilometers an hour is going to take a little while. So we'll just check
current takeoff speed, colon 197 kmph.
Yep, so current is 197.
Nose angle when taking off, colon 6-10-14.
So there's our nose angle, 6, 10, 14. I usually do 10 and then plus 2 and go up at 12 degrees in this plane. So that's just shift and down arrow as you're taking off, and then I just tap down twice after that without the shift. So, but you fly how you want, but that's normally how I do it.
Minimum flap position when taking off, colon 1.
So minimum flap when taking off is 1, so that's fine.
Minimum takeoff runway length, colon 1,290 meters.
So with the flaps and everything set, we need a minimum of 1,290. So we'll have 400 meters left over at the end of this runway, so that's quite a bit.
Current landing speed, colon 195 kmph.
Oops, sorry.
Minimum current landing speed, colon 195 kmph.
You should always come in here and check this, because this does change as you're flying. As your fuel lowers, this will change.
Minimum flap position when landing, colon 3.
So minimum flaps when landing is 3.
Minimum landing runway length, colon 1,035 meters.
You only need 1,035 to land. So I'll just quickly go over and check the stall speed. So that's just tab across to the technical data.
Combo box, technical data.
Okay.
Stall speeds, colon flaps 0, colon 240 kmph.
The 0 is 240.
Flaps 1, colon 220 kmph.
220. So I can't take off until I get to at least 220 kilometers an hour anyway. So, but that's better than 240. That's 20 kilometers less. I should get off the ground quite easy.
Flaps 2:200 kmph.
But I can put the flaps to 2 on takeoff if I want to, and that'll take 20 kilometers an hour off it. I think it was.
Flaps 2:200 kmph.
Yep. So that'll take 20 kilometers an off if I'm a little bit worried, but I'm sure I can get off with 1. And the landing flaps are at
flaps 3:180 kmph.
3, so that's 180, and your landing speed in this plane is 194 or 195 at the moment. So that's well below what we need. But if you want to land at close to your stall speed, I wouldn't get down to below 182, something like that. But like I said, I'm going to show you a little trick with the spoilers for landing.
Flaps 4:170 kmph.
And flaps 4 is 170. So if you had a really short runway and you had to slow down even more, you would use flaps 4, and that's it for the flap. So right here.
Edit.
Again, if this is a new plane to you, go Alt H for Harry and go to the checklist and go through the checklist, because this plane definitely has more things. It has an extra engine to start, so you'll need to know what keys to press with that, which basically I believe that's page up and page down. So page up starts engine 1, page down starts engine 2. So we've got that, as well as this plane has the GPWS, which is the ground proximity warning system. So if you get too low or you're approaching a mountain, you will hear bells and whistles and alarms going off and telling you to change direction or altitude as you're going to hit the ground. So basically in this plane with the GPWS on, you can't get below 300 meters on the sea level. If you go below that, you'll set off the alarms until your flaps are set to your landing flaps. Then you can go down without the alarms going off, just so you don't get too scared when you hear it for the first time. The other thing it has is pressurization, because you can go up to 7,000 meters, so you need to be pressurized. And of course it has ventilation, so you will need to know what keys to turn those on. But other than that, everything else is the same, but just go through the checklist and make sure you check everything. So right, let's get this plane started up. Now, we can't just start this one. We have to get permission to start the engine. So let's contact the tower and get permissions to start the engines.
Combo box. Board dash asking for boarding. Engines dash asking for permission to start the engines. Enter. Edit.
SK400. You have permission to start the engines.
Final startup.
Page up. Page down. Blank.
I'll just let it go through the process of starting the engines and getting everything else turned on.
Ready. Temperature control radar on. Stall indication on. TCAS on. Sensor on. Ventilation on. Cabin pressurization on. GPWS on.
If you need to collect passengers, use the command passenger checklist. If no passengers, use command taxi checklist for takeoff procedure. Now please set cabin temperature.
Set temperature. Set temperature combo box. 18, 19, 20, 21. Enter.
Temperature
Edit.
set.
Again, that voice at the end of that is part of my voice attack command. That's nothing to do with the game. And just remember, voice attack is not very accessible. Once it's set up, you can use it, but I'm not here to sell voice attack. So if you get it, that's up to you. But you will need sighted help to set it up and get all the profiles and things set up. Okay, so we're now running. The engine's running. Remember, we're in the hangar.
134 right at 134. Minus 350 hangar. Minus 50 hangar.
So, but because we're in the hangar, once we get permission to go out to the runway, we don't need to go into the main area or anything. Unless we're picking up passengers, but we're not, because this is a training flight. So, everything's running. And sometimes you do get told that you can't start the engines. There might be something going on around you, so you just got to wait a moment and then ask for permission again. So, but right, so we've got our flight. We've got to set our flight plan, which we haven't done yet, which I probably should have done while I was fueling up, but I got a little bit off track because we were setting other things up and I was teaching you other things. So I'll get the flight plan done now before I ask for runway.
Combo box. Board dash asking for engines dash ask fuel dash ask gate dash asking plan dash I want to create a flight plan. Enter. Call sign read only edit. SKMTF 400.
Okay, that's my call sign as per usual. There's a couple of little things different, but
select destination combo box. State of Queensland Hervey Bay dash YHBA.
I'm already on it because I added it to my navigation.
Filter edit. Flight description edit.
That's for searching for a location, and now that is our description. I'm not going to put anything in there, but you can put whatever you like in your flight description so people can see it online.
Requesting combo box. Navigated flight.
Right, I'm requesting
direct flight.
A direct flight. Again, they're the only two, and navigated flights don't work right now in the game as it's still in beta. So I've selected direct flight.
My waypoints combo box. Hervey Bay.
Now this is where you can have all, it tells you all your waypoints, but I only have one, which is Hervey Bay, because that's the only, I'm going directly to there.
Request flight button.
So let's request the flight.
Enter, edit.
Set transponder.
Set transponder code. Set transponder code edit.
SK400. Flight plan accepted without objections. Set transponder to 6981.
Okay.
55691. 6,981.
I prepared that earlier, but yes, you just have to, you always have to put in your transponder code because that's what they use to track you and check your flight plan. So the towers know where you're going to. So if you try landing in an airport you don't have permission for, they will tell you you don't have permission.
North. 0.
Okay, so now we need to get permission to go to a runway, so we've got to ask for a runway. So I'm going to select that. As you'll hear, I'll just quickly go through these as I do them this time because you're hearing a lot more options in the tower.
Combo box. Board dash asking for boarding.
Okay, boarding, that's when you're actually doing flights with passengers, which we aren't, so we can't do that.
Engines dash asking for permission to start the engines.
We've already got that.
Fuel dash asking for fuel.
Fuel, we've already done that.
Gate dash asking for gate assignment.
Now, gate assignment is what you ask the ground control for when you're coming into land. So when you've landed, you ask for your gate. If you've got passengers on board, they will tell you whether to go to a gate or a stand and give you the number. There's a little trick with that at the moment that you have to do to get the correct one because it actually gives you an incorrect one at the moment. I'm not sure why, but again, the game's in beta.
Plan dash I want to change the flight plan.
Right, we don't want to change the flight plan.
Push dash I need pushback.
Pushback, that doesn't work in the game at the moment, but if you go to a gate, if you actually approach a gate, you've got to park in front of a gate, so then you will need pushback to get away from the gate. But it's not working at the moment, so do not approach a gate. When you're doing passengers, you will always be allocated a stand at the moment, and stands you can drive through.
Dashboard, combo box, repair dash I need repairs.
Repairs, I don't need any repairs.
Runway dash asking for runway assignment.
Right. Now we're asking for runway. Now I'll see if there's any more.
Onboard dash asking for unboarding.
And unboarding, that's if you have passengers. That's it.
Runway
so
dash asking
let's
for
get our runway
assignment.
and find out where we're taking
Enter,
off.
edit.
SK400. You've been assigned runway 10. You can taxi.
Okay, so we've been assigned runway 10, which is 10, which the angle to take off in that is 100 degrees. Again, you just add a 0 to the end to get the angle of takeoff. So now we need to find out where we got to go to taxi to that. So that is shift and enter,
Shift enter.
to bring
combo
up
box.
the airport
Pilot
properties.
Waterberg 69 left, paren 1 right, paren. SKMTF 400 dash training flight. SAAB 340 left, paren 2 right, Igla dash Gladstone. Public with maintenance services left, paren 2
See,
right, paren.
that's why we've got to get all these permissions, because it's public with maintenance services. So that's why you have to get fuel and everything.
Height above sea dash level 47 meters. Difficulty :1. Ground control: 119.6.
This is where you can also get your radio frequencies. That's ground control.
Approach control: 118.8.
Approach control, which I've got to change to that in a moment. So it's 118.8.
Airport description: runways 1.
So there's only one runway here.
Runway 1028 left, paren 1,634 meters right, paren.
So there we go. It's runway 10 and runway 28, and it's 1,634 meters long. So it's only a short runway. So you probably only land category 2 planes here. So we'll keep going. Now we're going to runway 10, or 10, so we've got to find out our taxiway. So I think that's the next one.
Entrance 10, Bravo Delta dash 690, 100.
Okay, so we've got to go to Bravo Delta. So again, you've heard all the way through the taxiways, Bravo and Alpha, they're the main taxiways out of the main area. So this one's got Bravo, so that means you head out to the east of the main area. So you head out at 90 degrees, where Alpha, you always head out at west or 270 degrees. So I've got to go out of here, travel north along Mike, then I'll turn right or to the east along Bravo, then I'll turn left onto Delta. I believe it's left. It should all, usually when you're traveling along Bravo, the runways and the taxiways go off to the left. So they go off to the north again. So, but I'll check that as we're heading out. So right, so, and it does give you coordinates.
Runway entrance 10 Bravo Delta dash 690 100.
So 690 100. So I'm not sure how far that'll be. Once we get out there, I'll know. But yeah, so, and to get to runway 28, which we don't have to, but I'll just show you that.
Entrance 28 Bravo Delta Foxtrot Yankee dash 406 1710.
So to get to runway 28, I'd have to go to Bravo, then along Delta, then along Foxtrot, and then onto Yankee, and then that'd have me at the other end of the runway. So they're things you've just got to remember.
Surface asphalt.
The runway is asphalt.
Hangar Mike.
The hangar is on Mike.
Main area southwest.
And the main area is southwest, which usually on Bravo, it's always southwest. On Alpha, it's usually southeast. Sometimes it can be south.
Number of gates 4.
So it has 4 gates.
Number of stands 4.
And 4 stands. So that's for your passengers. So, but as I said, right now they only allocate your stands, not gates.
Airport building on the north side of the gates.
Okay, so that's everything about the airport.
Escape.
So we know we've got to go
Escape.
Bravo Delta. Right, so we've got permission. So I'm now going to change to the approach. If you don't change to it now, which I've already got permission from ground to travel to the taxiway, so that's fine. So I'm going to change to approach control. But if you forget to do it, they will tell you as you're approaching the end of the runway, they'll tell you to switch frequency, but I'm going to do it now. Set radio frequency.
Set frequency 118. 118, period, 8. Gladstone approach control, edit.
Sometimes they'll talk to you, sometimes they won't. So I'm not expecting them to talk to me, but he could welcome me to the airport again, I don't know. Okay, so let's just double check some things again. Now the hangar door status.
Hangar doors open, vertical bar north.
So the hangar door's open and it's north.
North.
My plane's facing north. I'm not setting anything, any flaps or anything just yet because I'm just waiting. So I'll just check my fuel.
3,637 liters.
And we'll check
0
the distance. We've travelled none. Check the weather.
W. Clear sky, temperature 14, pressure 1018, humidity 58, northeast wind 2 meters per second.
Bit chilly here this morning before we take off. Right.
R,
So
0.
speed 0. So now I'm going to use the auto speed feature, which is, I think, let me just double check.
Control R.
Oh, I just opened the door, so it's not that one.
Opened.
Control R.
Let's just close that. Lucky we weren't flying. So it's
Closed.
to do the auto speed is
Aldar. Aldar. Escape. Escape.
auto speed, set speed.
Escape. Escape.
I'm not sure because maybe it's because I got my park brake on. Park brake off.
Parking brakes off.
Auto speed. Auto speed. Sorry. Set speed. Set speed.
Set speed. Set speed, edit.
Alright, so
Escape,
let's
escape.
try that again. It's working now. So it wasn't working because my park brakes were on.
Set speed. Set speed,
Yeah,
edit.
so it's Alt R to set your speed in here. So what this does is when you're in the air or when you're on the ground, this makes it a lot easier to get to your speeds now. Whereas I'm not sure if this wasn't working last time I tried it, so I stopped using it. So if a plane has it, you can use it. So if some of the Category 1 planes have it, feel free to use it. But so what this does is it'll accelerate to the speed and then it'll cut the engines or choke the engines back automatically for you. You can use it for slowing down and speeding up. So I'm going to speed up to probably about 20 kilometers an hour along here until I get there, because that way I can't crash or anything because I'm not over speeding. And then we'll see if I've got to speed up when I get to the Delta taxiway. I don't think I do. I think 20. We'll get there a little bit slowly, but let's set that now.
0.
And then all I've got to do is press 20, and then this plane's going to start rolling. So it's just a lot easier for setting your speeds. And why not use it if you've got it? Planes are all computerized these days, so why wouldn't it have it? So let's start taxiing out.
20. Enter. Edit.
Here we go.
6/20 auto. 9/20 auto. 12/20 auto.
Once I get outside the hangar, I'll close the doors.
20. -50 hangar. -310 hangar. -304 hangar.
Close hangar doors. Close hangar door. There we go.
-237 mic in front of the hangar.
Right, so we're going down Mike now, and then when we get to Bravo, we'll turn right onto Bravo. Remember, you don't turn onto Bravo until you actually get onto Bravo, because we're actually approaching it at a 90-degree angle. So if you turn before it, you won't get on it. You'll end up in the paddock. So when it says we're on Bravo, that's when we'll turn.
Zulu.
Now that's Zulu to our left. If we had to pick up passengers, we would now turn left and go to the gates or the stands. As I was saying, you'd notice that.
Zulu. Zulu.
We'll just keep driving along Mike.
-1 mic.
Right, here comes Bravo.
Bravo.
Right, so we're going to turn right onto Bravo, when we get onto Bravo.
48
Bravo. 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 Bravo.
Bravo.
Right, now we turn right onto
20,
Bravo.
31, 43,
Turn
50.
to 90 degrees because we're going
81.
east.
87.
That's just Mike again because we're still
88.
beside it. Now left should be Delta.
Delta.
Yep. So now we'll turn left onto Delta.
Delta.
80. 68.
So that's
60,
north again.
Delta.
50. 39.
0.
48.
Delta.
9.
Delta.
Just going to cut these engines and
Throttle
slow
preset
down a
0.
bit because I'm not
Delta.
sure.
18. 18. 17. 16.
Delta.
16. 15.
Delta.
Choked off dash throttle preset 204 Delta.
Foxtrot.
Now that's Foxtrot.
3.
If we had to go to
Foxtrot.
the other end of the runway, we turn there. Right, so
14.
let's get permission to get on the runway.
Combo box. Enter dash asking for permission to enter the runway.
Foxtrot.
Enter. Edit.
Always get permission.
Foxtrot.
Now it's slowed down because
SK400. You're permitted to enter the runway.
I slowed down because I was a bit concerned about how far
431 meters.
the runway was down here, but it looks like it's a little ways
64
down,
Delta.
which is good.
337 Delta. 343, 395 meters.
So it's 395 meters to the end of this runway. I do that by double pressing the longitude latitude keys,
180 meters.
and I'm 180 meters long. So we're just going to travel down here, and then we're going to turn onto the runway, which is runway 10, which is 10, add a 0, 100. So when I turn, I'm going to turn to 100 degrees and then keep it on that angle to take off down the runway.
14. 0 above ground. 14. 14.
We've got permission to enter the runway, and then we'll stop and then set up the plane ready for takeoff, because there's a couple of other things you need to know.
64 Delta. 504 to 234 meters.
I could have probably sped up a little bit, but it's safer to be sure first, so we'll just keep travelling
14.
down here.
547 Delta.
I think it was at 600 and something was the coordinate.
64 Delta.
And 64, that's just how far we are to the north-south of the taxi on the airport. So we've just gone out of the negatives. The actual main area in this airport is in the negative area of the airport. Right, that's our runway. So we'll
10.
wait. So now we'll turn to 100.
10.
22. 30. 41. 52.
10.
60. 71. 82. 90.
10.
98. 99. 100. 99.
10.
199.
Runway
100.
1028.
101. Throttle preset 0. 100. 100.
Right, we'll stop. So we need the brakes for that, because otherwise we'll travel a bit far down the
Dash,
runway.
dash.
Right, so now we've stopped. Let's see how far we went.
133 meters.
We're 33 meters on the runway. and the runway is
1,606 meters.
1,606 meters ahead of us. So we've got quite a lot of runway now. We'll just check and make sure that we're on the correct angle.
100.
If you don't manage to get it spot on the first time, if you're only 1 or 2 degrees out, when you start taking off again, you can line it up to get it straight. You can just get that 1 or 2 degrees sorted out. So don't panic too much about not being on line. Right, so now let's set this plane up for takeoff. So normally we set the flaps, which we know that's 1 for takeoff, so I'll do that now. Set the flaps.
Set flap position 1. Enter. Edit.
And we'll get takeoff permission from the tower.
Combo box. Enter dash
Flap
asking
set.
for permission to enter the runway. Runway dash asking for runway as takeoff dash asking for takeoff clearance.
Right, we want takeoff clearance.
Enter. Edit.
SK400. You are cleared to take off.
Right, we're cleared to take off. Now, these planes have multiple flight modes. So, what that means is while you're taxiing around on the ground, you should be in taxi mode, and then when you want to take off, you should be in flight mode. So I'm just going to press my throttle button for that to see what it's at, and you'll hear it.
0 throttle 0% throttle preset 0 taxi mode .
So it tells me I'm at 0 and I'm in taxi mode. So I'm going to turn it into flight mode, otherwise I won't have enough power to take off, because it basically makes it so you can't overpower the engines on the ground and go too fast. So to do that is shift and delete,
Flight mode.
which we're now in flight mode. I'll double check that.
0 throttle 0% throttle preset 0 flight mode .
Right, so now 100% of the power is going to go to the engine. So we're all set. So let's just check everything.
100.
We're facing
0
100.
flaps at 1.
Our flaps are set to 1.
0 throttle 0% throttle preset 0 flight mode .
We're set to flight mode.
133 kilometers Hervey Bay 16 minutes.
Right, so let's get off the ground, and we've got permission to take off. So again, the way I do this is I set my throttles to the full, which is 90%. I travel down the runway, checking my speed. When I get to the speed, which in this plane is 220, because that's my current stall speed with the flaps set to 1. So I've got to get above 220. I then press and hold the shift key down, press the down arrow once to get to 10 degrees, which will take me off fine, but I'll just tap the down arrow twice without the shift key, and that'll get me to 12 degrees. Just takes me off a little bit faster. So, all right, we're ready to go. So let's get off the ground.
R. 0 flaps at 1. 100.
Full throttle.
Throttle preset 5.
Let's go. You can tap the longitude, latitude keys to keep checking your runway.
1,583 meters. 1,570 meters. 1,550 meters.
So that's how you can check and make sure, but
80 flaps at 1.
we're up to 80 kilometers an hour.
98 flaps at 1.
So as you see, it takes a little bit of time to build up speed in these planes.
134 flaps at 1. 1,145 meters.
Still got 1,000 meters to go.
173 flaps at 1. 875 meters. 192 flaps at 1. R. 202
Right,
flaps at
nearly
1.
there.
210 flaps at R. 215 flaps R. 223 flaps at blank.
10, 20, 30,
287 meters.
40,
We still had 287
50, 60,
meters.
70, 80, 90,
Takeoff
successful. Out of airport.
274 flaps at
Flight mode.
200.
lights off. Taxi lights off.
Flight mode is set.
Set flap position. Set flap 0. Enter.
300.
Make sure you turn your set your flaps and everything.
SK400. Climb to
400.
74.
Right, so
34 right at 134.
I'm now going to check where I've meant to be
500.
flying.
34 right at 134.
So we're going to set our course. We're going to do that manually. Set course.
Set course 134. 134. Period. Period. Comma 2 5. 25 and 111. 120.
SK400. Change course to 123.
Yeah, I'm not worried about his course because he's setting me somewhere else, but I
Dead
just
ahead
set it.
134.
I'm dead ahead.
229 kilometers. 421.
I'm speeding up still.
128 kilometers. Hervey Bay 32 minutes.
We've got 32 minutes, but that's at this speed. So I'm actually going to now get my altitude up to about 6,000 meters. So I'm going to do that by auto altitude. So set the altitude. Set altitude.
Set altitude 6 0 0 0.
And we'll set that at 20 degrees up because otherwise it'll take a long time to get there because otherwise it'll only go up 6 degrees. So we've got to type in a comma.
M 0 990 6000 comma 2
and 20 for 20 degrees and then press enter. And now we're going to climb to 6,000 meters. So it just saves a lot of fuel. Well, I believe it does. We've done some testing and a few of us have noticed that it does sort of save some fuel over the long run.
Dead ahead at 121 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 26
and now
minutes.
this plane also has autopilot. So I'm going to set the autopilot.
SK400, keep your altitude.
Yeah, he's telling me to keep my altitude, but it's a bit silly to stay down low when you can get up higher. And we're way above all the mountains and everything. So I'll just check it.
2,500/6,000 auto.
Still climbing. See, it says 2,500 or whatever altitude you're at, and then it says your auto.
2,837/6,000 auto.
So it's 6,000
Australia
auto.
and Oceania, Australia.
But I'm going to turn the autopilot
Gladstone.
on. Autopilot on.
Auto navigation on.
So what that does now is it will point directly at your current waypoint, which is Hervey Bay Airport. So it may be a little tiny bit off of the full
Dead
degree.
ahead at 134.5.
See, it's 134.5, where before I was pointing at 134, so it's a more direct route, and you don't have to turn or anything like that. So
4,510/6,000
getting up
auto.
there now. Getting up nice and high.
212 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 23 minutes. 542.
Up to 542 kilometers an hour, that's a bit faster. But we are set at 90% throttle.
90, throttle, 90%, throttle, preset 5, flight mode,
So we're in flight mode, we're at preset 5, and we're 90% throttle. So
5,768/6,000 auto.
alright, we're nearly there. You'll hear a sound shortly. There we go. That sound means you've reached whatever you had set your items to, pardon me. So we're
6,003.
6,003 meters above the sea level.
6,000 above ground.
And we're 6,000 above ground because we're obviously still over the ground. When you're flying along here, the coast of Queensland, you can go out over the ocean sometimes. So
Australia and Oceania. 2. Australia-State of Queensland.
we're in the state of Queensland.
3. Gladstone.
We're still in the Gladstone region.
Rods Bay.
Rods Bay we're flying over at the moment. That's just a small place to the south of Gladstone, I believe. But we'll go over lots of places.
134.5/134.5 auto.
So that's telling me that's my current direction, and it's telling me I'm at the 134.5 and it's 134.5 auto. So that means that way you can tell you're on autopilot.
6,003. 554.
As you saw, I set my mode as I took off, so it turned off my landing lights and my taxi lights, and then I set my flaps to 0 because you will damage your flaps if you leave them on in flight. And what that does is it breaks them at the current setting, so you will have to try and land at that setting. So not good if it's way faster than what you need
Coastal
to.
waters of Great Barrier Reef.
So that's just telling us we've just left land and
Coastal waters of Great Barrier Reef.
we're over the coastal waters of the Great Barrier Reef.
Australia and Oceania.
Now we're
Australia,
back over
State of
Australia.
Queensland, Gladstone.
So as you're just crossing the coast.
Ibrag.
So we're going past Ivor something or other.
Dead ahead at 134.4.
It's changed to 134.4. That will change all the way there. You always move slightly off as you're moving.
190 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 20 minutes.
So we've got 20 minutes flight left. So, but right now, the first thing we've got to do now is we want to change our radio frequency to our destination airport. So we're ready for when we get there. So they will connect to us automatically. It's a Cat 2 airport, so my distance for that is set to, I believe it's 55 kilometres out. So once we get to 55 kilometres, they'll contact us. So to do your destination airport is Alt-Enter.
Alt-Enter. Combo box. Pilot Roderberg 69 left.
And we'll just find
right.
out some information about it while we're here. So we won't worry about the radio frequency just yet. We'll come back to that. So just so we know how many runways it's got and all that sort of things, we will go through that now.
SAAB 300 watt HBA public with maintenance height above sea dash difficulty ground control difficulty (1).
Difficulties
Ground
1.
approach control. Airport description : runways 1.
So it's only got one runway. try and say that fast.
Runway 1129 left, paren 1999 meters
Okay,
right.
so
direct.
it's runway 1129, so that's 110 or 290, slightly different. What? Basically 10 degrees off from Gladstone Airport. So we will get one of those ends. I'm not sure. I think with Harvey Bay it's usually 11 you get. So, but depending on the wind direction. So the next part of that is the taxiways, and we won't need to know that until we're actually landing.
Entrance 11 colon L, entrance 20, surface colon S.
It's asphalt.
Main
Hangamai.
area southeast.
Main area southeast. So that means that this is off an alpha taxiway to get to the main area, which I'll show you how to do that later. So let's check the descent map. So I press tab to go to that.
Combo box, descent map.
Now I want to know what the safe altitude is around the airport at as close as possible.
Height above sea dash level 12 meters. Same altitude safe circle 4.0 kilometers.
Okay, so the same altitude safe circle is 4 kilometers, which that's a big thing. So obviously it's right on the coast or somewhere close, so it's nice and flat. But I'll still be doing the same as I always do in all planes. I don't come down from 100 meters or 120 meters until I'm within 1.5 kilometers of the airport, and then I'll go down to about 60 meters, and then I don't go down into the airport until I get about 300 meters away. But we'll check out some more altitudes.
2 kilometers safe altitude 17 meters, which is 5 meters above ground.
So yep, that's 5 meters above ground, 17, that's sea
5
level.
kilometers safe altitude 26 meters, which is 14 meters above ground. 5 kilometers safe altitude 26 meters, which is 10 kilometers safe altitude 26 meters, which is 14 meters above ground. 15 kilometers safe altitude 111 meters, which is 99 meters above ground. 20 kilometers safe altitude 111 meters, which is 99 meters above ground.
Oh, pretty
30 kilometers
close.
safe altitude 160 meters, which is 148 meters above ground.
Yeah,
50 kilometers safe
reasonable.
altitude 160 meters, which is 148 meters above. 100 kilometers safe altitude 465 meters, which is 453 meters above ground.
Yep, so that's getting
150
up there.
kilometers safe altitude 617 meters, which is 605 meters above ground.
Yep, so 600 meters, that's pretty good. Now you can check the runways, the safe entrances for the direct line on the runway when you're directly lined up, which we will do that when we find out what runway we've got. And
Combo
these
box,
airports,
waypoints.
the waypoints, they have 4 of them.
11A left paren 184 kilometers, 11B left paren 108, 11C left paren 11D left paren
Which
117 kilometers,
11D
right,
will
right
be
paren.
15 kilometers from the end of the runway that you're heading. So if it's 11D, that means from the end of runway 11 will be 15. Now I still use those the same way I do with the other ones. If I'm not on a decent angle, I'll fly to that, fly away from the airport, turn around and go back. That's how I always do it. So right, let's get our frequencies for approach
Combo
control.
box, main area southeast, number of gates, number of stand, airport building on the north side of number main exit
back
and
up.
rapid high public Y, so S high. S
Okay.
300 Y HBA dash public with maintenance height above sea dash difficulty (1) ground control (124.6).
Now that's ground control. We don't need that because we're not on the ground. That's only when you're talking to the ground. So we need approach
Control (126.6).
Okay, so we'll set that.
Escape.
Set radio frequency.
Set frequency. Set 1, 2, 6, 126. Period. 6. Enter. Edit.
Right, they won't talk to me because I'm not in range.
146 kilometers. Survey bay 15 minutes.
Still 146 kilometers away. So they're not going to contact me now until I get to within 55 kilometers of the airport. So we just have to be patient and wait for that. But what I do now is I just keep checking things. I now know what's at my airport. I know what to expect. I know the safe altitudes and stuff around it. You can check them all the times. I won't remember all of those. So that's fine. But now I just keep approaching. When I get to about 100 kilometers out,
141 kilometers. Survey bay 15 minutes.
that's when I'll start descending. And that's when I'm going to use the spoilers. Now this is a new part of the planes that you didn't have in the smaller planes. The spoilers are for descending without changing your speed or your angle of your plane. So when you turn your spoilers on, it disturbs the air over the wings, which then makes the plane start falling out of the sky. It won't fall rapidly, so don't panic. So it will start falling out of the sky and you descend down without changing your level. So instead of pointing the nose down, so if you had passengers on board, they wouldn't even know that you were changing altitude technically, because they wouldn't even feel it. The plane stays straight, and you just slowly descend, depending on what you set them to, of course. I'll probably be setting them to 2 out of the 4, just to descend a little bit quicker.
0.1 left at 134.3. 132 kilometers Hervey by 14
And
minutes.
then when I get to about, I'd say, between 2,000 and 1,500 meters, I will then deactivate the spoilers, and then I'll manually change my altitude down when I'm ready. And that's what the spoilers are for. They're not to slow you down, they're not to do anything. All they are is to descend on an equal plane, so a level plane, so the plane stays level, and you just slowly descend down. I'll show you when I start descending how rapid it is, so you can see that you don't need to panic, that your plane's going to just drop like a stone. It does fall quickly, but not as quickly as you think. So, but that's the second thing I'm going to show you with the spoilers. I actually use them for landing as well, because they stop your lift and they make you land. So what I do is when I'm coming into land, you'll see when I do this, I get everything set up, and then as I'm approaching
122 kilometers Hervey by 13 minutes.
the airport at the end, when I'm about 2 or 3 kilometers out, I will do the keystroke for the spoilers to set them, and then I'll type in the number 1 to set them to 1, but I won't do anything with it until I hear the runway sound. When I hear the runway sound, I then press enter, and that starts the spoilers, and as soon as they start making a noise, your plane will stall and will land. So just as long as you're within the 20 meters above the ground, your plane will land nice and smooth. You don't have to decrease all your speed off like you do with the stall speed. So what that means is I can land at my proper landing speed of 195, and the stall speed for the plane at flaps 3, which is your landing flaps, is 180. So if I was coming into a runway and I was doing 195 and I hear the runway and then I turn the engines to idle, I've got to wait for it to slow down to 180 before the plane will actually land. So you could be 3/4 of the way down the runway before that happens. So some of these planes take a long time to slow down. So you can either do it the way we've been doing it, turn the stall computer off so you don't get the alarm, slow down to just like 2 or 3 kilometers above the stall speed, and then do it that way, or you can use the spoilers to do it. I'm going to use the spoilers today so you can see how easy that is to do. But again, because I use the controller, I can have the spoiler set ready to type in on the keyboard, and then I can press my engines to idle on the controller. You can't use 2 keys at once on the keyboard, so it might be a little bit difficult. But you can turn the spoilers on with the throttle still set to whatever they're set, and then as soon as you hit enter, you can then hit the idle speed on the engines. It's just as easy to do it that way. So, but again, you can use the old stall speed way if you like. You just remember to turn off the stall computer so it doesn't set the alarm off. But I'm not turning that off today because I'm going to do it the other way.
Throttle preset 0. Throttle preset 0.
And I just set the throttles to 0, full throttle.
Throttle preset 5.
Press the wrong button, see? Mistakes happen.
528.
That slowed us down pretty quick too. That's
98
fine.
kilometers Hervey by 11 minutes.
Now I'm going to set the altitude. I'm going to set the spoilers. Set spoilers. Set spoilers.
Set spoiler position. It's 2.
Right, we're going to
Enter.
set it
Edit.
to 2. And now you'll see our altitude will start falling.
5,939. 5,899. 5,859. 5,824.
Spoiler set.
5,779.
I've set them to 2, so we're falling a little bit faster than you would at 1.
94 kilometers Hervey by 10 minutes. 540 spoilers up 2.
See, we're doing 540 kilometers an hour and our spoilers are at 2.
134.3/193 kilometers or 5,434.
See, we haven't even dropped 1,000 meters yet, and I turned them on quite some time ago.
5,314.
But it takes about 40 kilometers to get down at this sort of altitude and this speed. So you've got to plan definitely for where you want to do it.
4,991 above ground.
And we're still 4,900 above ground.
4,939.
Are we over land?
1. Australia and Oceania.
Yes, we're over land.
4. Meadowvale. Bundaberg.
We're over Bundaberg.
549 spoilers of 2. 4,699.
So see, we're still.
4,614.
We haven't even dropped 1,500 meters yet. So that's, you just keep checking.
4,379. 86 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 9 minutes. Dead ahead at 134.2.
I just keep checking everything regularly.
551 spoilers of 2. 4,144.
And I'm checking above sea level, not above ground, because you never use the above ground until you're actually coming into land or something like that.
3,898 above ground.
See, that's above ground.
3,864.
It's pretty close.
3,809.
See, so you don't have to panic about falling out of the sky. It's nice, slow descent. If you set the spoilers to 4, you may fall a lot faster.
3,564.
But you'd only do that if you were like at 23,000 meters or something, like in the Category 3 planes.
3,379. 79 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 8 minutes. 3,289.
Just keep checking.
3,224. 3,169 above ground. 134.3/134.2 auto. 77 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 8 minutes. 555 spoilers of 2. 2,914.
Okay, so I'll just keep checking that now, and then when I get a bit closer to 2,000,
2,739.
I will then set the spoilers back to 0, and then I'll actually do the angle of the plane to come down lower.
2,544. 74 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 7 minutes.
So see, I started that at 98, we're now at 74, so...
2,294.
And we still haven't even come down 4,000 meters yet.
2,174. 2,134. 2,089. 2,054.
We've just...
2014. 1989. 71 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 7 minutes.
So in 28 kilometers we come down 4,000 meters.
1,829.
Right.
1,764. 1,709. 1,669.
Okay, so now I'll set them back to 0.
1,594.
Set the flaps.
Set flap position. 10. Enter. Edit. Enter. Blank, blank, blank. Pemberton. Escape. 556 spoilers of 2.
Set the flaps. Set the flaps.
Escape. 556
Set
spoilers
the
of 2.
flaps.
Set flap position. Escape.
Set the spoilers. Set spoilers.
789.
Set spoilers. Set the spoilers.
Set spoiler position. Set 0. Enter. Edit.
I don't know why that didn't lock in, but
556.
I'm definitely going to
Spoiler
have to
set.
pull back up a bit because I'm a bit low.
808.
Right, we'll come back up to 1,000.
937. 960. 1,025. 1,036.
See, the voice commands do have a bit of a problem sometimes if they don't hear you properly, but I don't know why that didn't work. The first time I typed it in, pressed enter, and it just didn't work.
1,049. 550. 1,036 above ground.
Okay.
58 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 6 minutes.
So Harvey Bay will be contacting me in a moment, and then what I'll do is, as soon as they contact me, I'll get runway clearance for a runway so I know which runway I'm coming in.
Dead ahead at 134.2.
I'll leave it on autopilot though.
56 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 6 minutes.
Okay, so about a minute they'll contact
55
me.
kilometers, Hervey Bay, 5
Here we
minutes.
go.
Hervey Bay approach control.
We're connected to the radio.
Royalty.
Now we've just got to wait for them to call us.
Royalty.
There we go.
SK400. Welcome to our airspace.
If they don't call you in about a minute, just call them anyway. But let's get a
Combo
runway.
box. Approach dash, brake dash, aborting landing, land dash, asking for landing clearance, runway dash, asking for
Right,
runway
so we
assignment.
want runway.
Enter, edit. 134.2/134.2 auto.
SK400. You've been assigned runway 11.
Okay, so we've been assigned runway 11, and I'm currently coming in at 134. So we're only just off. So I'm actually going to approach manually here rather than do the hard way or the easy way. So autopilot off. Autopilot off.
Auto navigation off.
Right.
134.
So now I've got to turn to the right
134.
to
140,
start.
150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 193. 59 left at 134.
So I'm going to get to
203,
about
75 left at 133. 211,
get
10,
about
120. 88 left at 132.
So if you turn away from the airport at about 90
Australia
degrees,
and Oceania,
which
Australia.
if you listen,
89 left at
Queensland,
131.
we're 89 left at 131. So what that's doing is decreasing our, because we turn to the right, we're decreasing our numbers.
91 left at 129.
See, we're now at 129. We're going to come around to 110.
45 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 4 minutes.
But because we're at almost 90 degrees, it keeps you at the same distance away from the airport.
45 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 4 minutes.
If you keep letting it go further out, you will start going away from the airport again.
95 left at 125.
I'll just go back to
89
90
left at
again.
125.
Well, 89's fine.
90 left at 124.
So we got 124, so we've got about... We want to come around to 110, which is runway 11, 110 degrees.
92 left at 122.
So we're slowly coming down.
45 kilometers, 556. 1,027 above ground. 1,049. 45
so
kilometers,
just keep
Hervey Bay, 4
checking everything.
minutes.
But see, we're staying at 45 kilometres.
46 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 4 minutes.
See, we actually went further away.
95 left at 119.
You don't want to go further away.
96 left at 118. 208. 86 left at 118. 86 left at 118.
So stay between 80 and 95 to keep the
46
same
kilometers, Hervey Bay,
distance.
4 minutes. 88 left at 116.
We're down to 116. When I get to about 114, I'll go in. I'll turn closer, so I'm not going so
89
fast.
left at 115.
Right. So let's turn in a bit
170,
closer.
180, 160, 47 left at 114.
So it's 47 left.
48 left at 113. 48 left at 113. 150, 42 left at 112.
Right. So I'm going to set the auto course. Set course. Set course.
Set course 110. 110, comma, 2, 5. 43 left at 111.
So once we get to 110,
44 left at 110. 150,
Now I'm
100,
going to turn back in line with the airport.
110. Dead ahead at 110.
and we're dead ahead. So that's how you do it manually to get around. So if it was like further around, if I had to go up in numbers, I turn to the left and do exactly the same
40
thing.
kilometers, Hervey Bay, 4 minutes.
So I'm pretty much lined up now. This
Dead ahead at 110.
it may change, but that's fine. We just keep turning until we turn that 1 degrees back. When you're lined up, you always keep it on alignment. So if we do go like a degree
Dead ahead
out,
at 110.
so let's say it went to 111, I would just turn slightly to a couple of degrees to the right until it says it's like 1 or 2 degrees back to the airport. Then you go back to dead
Dead
ahead.
ahead at 110. 34 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 3 minutes.
So right, I'm going to now get permission to approach the airport and then get ready for landing. So let's get our permission to approach.
Combo box. Approach dash asking for approach clearance. Enter. Edit.
So F1 for the radio.
SK400. You can begin approach.
Right.
30
we just
kilometers, Hervey Bay,
Razor
3
goes.
minutes.
keep
Razor
checking.
goes.
Now I know this plane how it slows down, so I'm not going to start slowing down till about 20 kilometers out. I'll then do what I always do. I'll idle the engines. I'll slow down. As I'm slowing down, I'll set my my landing gear down and everything. I will then set my spoiler, my flaps at the correct setting for the speed, so I don't break them or damage them.
26 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 2 minutes.
And
1,042.
I'm going
1.1
to go
kilometers, vertical bar, policy,
down a
vertical
bit
bar,
lower.
1,009 above ground.
Safe altitude.
51 kilometers,
Royalty.
descent to 36 meters, 706 above ground.
we'll
641
get down
above,
to
586 above ground.
just above
592 above
300.
ground.
400,
358 above ground. 24
And
kilometers, Hervey Bay, 2
that
minutes.
is the GPWS system telling you
23
that.
kilometers, Hervey Bay, 2
Australia and
minutes. 1
Oceania,
left at
Australia.
109.
Australia and
See,
Oceania,
I've
Australia.
gone 1 left, so I've got to
Speed
turn to
Razor
the
goes.
left to go up the
90
numbers.
set 15 right at 109.
That's a
110
bit
right
far.
at 110.
Set course.
Set 110. 110. Enter. Edit. 110. Dead ahead at 110.
Right.
20 kilometers, Hervey Bay, 2 minutes.
Now I'm going to stall the
Throttle
engines,
preset 0.
turn the engines off
19 kilometers,
to
Hervey Bay, 2
start
minutes.
slowing down.
549. 543.
There we go, we're
538.
slowing down.
362 above ground.
See, if I go
373.
down below, I'll show you.
400, collision with
See?
the ground imminent.
299 above ground.
300,
As soon as you go below
338.
300 above sea level, you
17
get that
kilometers,
alarm.
Hervey Bay, 2 minutes. 17
And
dead
that's
ahead
the
at 110.
GPWS.
434. Dead ahead at 110.
So you've got to keep checking that you're dead
Dead ahead
ahead.
at 110. 406. 401.
once I get
397.
to
392.
landing mode,
Taxi
so I'm
lights
turning my
on.
lights on,
Landing
land
lights
Flight
on.
mode.
taxi lights are now on. Please keep preparing for landing.
Hear the
When you are at
landing-
almost landing speed,
That's
set
the
the flaps to
landing gear
optimal
coming
landing
down.
setting. And make sure your landing gear is down.
14 kilometers, Hervey 340. Dead ahead at 100, 336.
Right. Set the flaps.
Set
Now
flap
we know
position.
it was
Set
three.
flap 3.
So I'm just keeping them ready
315,
till I get to
312,
under 300 kilometers an
309,
hour.
306, 304, 300, 298. Enter. Edit.
There we go. Now I'll set them to 3 and you'll hear the noises change and everything.
12 kilometers, Hervey by 2 minutes. Dead ahead at 110.
Flaps set.
Right. See, it changed. And now I can go
328, 348.
below 300 without the
300.
computer going
268
off
above
its
ground.
3.
200.
170, 155, 100, 100, 137 above ground, 127 above ground.
And again, that's the GPWS telling me. You'll actually hear when I'm coming into land, it comes, once I get under 100, it'll start counting down in 10
10
meters.
kilometers, Hervey by dead ahead at 110. 218 flaps at 3.
So now I'm going to use that auto speed. Set speed.
Set speed 1, 9, 6, 6, 5, 195. Enter.
Right.
197. 196 flaps at 3.
Now that's set for my landing speed.
196 flaps at 3.
So I should have used that from the
8.7
start.
kilometers,
I
Hervey by
forgot
2
all
minutes.
about it because I'm not used to using it. So when you're ready to set your speed,
8.4 kilometers, Hervey dead ahead at 110.
you should do that with that. So let's say when I was ready, I should have said, rightio, I'm ready to start slowing down. I set the auto speed and I set it to what I want. So if you were coming in and you were going to use the stall speed as you're landing, you would set it to 182 or something like that. Where I'm setting mine at 195 because I'm going to use the
7.1
spoilers to
kilometers, dead ahead
land.
at 110. 7.0 kilometers, Hervey by
Which
2
I'm
minutes.
just waiting for ILS now, so I've got to wait till 5 kilometers out.
196 flaps at 3. Dead ahead at 110. Dead ahead at 110.
And I keep checking that I'm still dead ahead.
6.3 kilometers, Hervey by 1 minute.
But at 5 kilometers I'll set my ILS and then I don't have to worry
Dead ahead
about
at
that.
110. 6.0 110. 5.9 kilometers, Hervey by 1. Dead ahead at 110.
I hate it when it moves to this close in.
5.7 kilometers, dead ahead at 110. 196 flaps at 3. 147. 138 above ground. 5.3 kilometers, Hervey by 1 minute.
Just keep checking everything.
5.2 kilometers, Hervey bay 1
Alright.
5.1 right at 111. 5.0
It should be
kilometers,
fine.
Hervey bay 1 4.9 kilometers, Hervey bay
Runway
1
list.
minute. Combo box 11. Enter. Edit.
See, because it's only 1 degree off, it still allowed me to connect to it because that was a bummer that it changed that
1 right at
close.
111. 4.4
But that's
kilometers,
fine.
Hervey bay 1
And
minute.
if I check the ILS now by checking my direction,
110.6 aisles.
so it's connected to ILS. Just don't touch your left-right stick or your course to the left or right.
196 flaps at 3. 3.6 kilometers, Hervey bay 1 minute. 3.5 kilometers, Hervey bay 1 minute. 3.4 kilometers, Hervey bay
so-
1 minute.
Basically, I've got to get permission to land.
Combo box. Approach dash brake dash aborting landing. Land dash asking for landing clearance. Enter. Edit.
Nearly forgot. I usually do that as soon as I set my spoilers. As soon as I set the flaps these days.
2.5 kilometers,
Come on.
Hervey bay 0 minutes.
SK400. You are clear to
1 right at
land.
111. 2.2 kilometers, Hervey bay 0 minutes.
Right, so now I'm all set to go in, so I'm going to get my spoilers ready. Set the spoilers.
Set spoiler position 1.
Right, that's all ready to go. I'm not going to press enter.
196 flaps at 1.5 kilometers, Hervey bay 0
So I'm
minutes.
going to now go down to 60.
105 above ground.
190,
195 above
80,
ground.
70, 60.
55 above ground. 1.0 kilometers, Hervey
Right,
bay 0 minutes.
now when I get into 300 meters out, 0.3, I'll then go down and I'll be ready to press
0.6
enter.
kilometers, Hervey bay 0 minutes. 0.5 kilometers, Hervey bay 0.5
And I'll
kilometers,
press
Hervey bay
enter
0
as soon
minutes.
as I hear the runway.
0.3 kilometers, Hervey bay 0 minutes.
50, 40. Air
Signal
39
30.
above 20, 26, 18,
20.
17, 17, 50, 40, 14 above ground, 12 above ground.
Delta. Runway 1129.
10.
100
Landing
throttle preset
successful.
0.
And I set the
Throttle preset
throttles to 0.
1,207 runway 1129. 150
And
flaps
we're
at 3 spoilers
down.
at 1.
Set the
Spoiler
flaps.
set.
Set 0. Enter. Edit.
Set the spoilers.
Set spoiler position 0. Enter.
Flaps
Edit.
set.
1,390. 89.
Right, now I'm just going to
Spoiler
wait till the
set.
engine's slowed down
79.
to 50, and then I'm going to set the plane back into taxi
67.
mode.
65.
You can't do it until 50
62.
kilometers an hour.
R. 60. 58. 57. 55. 54. 53. 51.
Taxi
RRR. Shift
mode.
delete.
We're back in taxi mode. I'll double check.
0 colon throttle colon 0% colon throttle preset 0 colon taxi mode colon.
Yep.
Choked off dash
and I'm going
40.
to choke off the
40.
engines at 40 because
873
we've
meters.
still got 873 meters to go. Now, you can quickly check by shift enter and find out what we've landed on runway 11,
Airport
so
runway entrance 11 entrance
our
29
exit is
colon Alpha Delta
29.
Foxtrot entrance 11 entrance 29 colon Alpha Delta Foxtrot Yankee dash 605
Del-
1980.
Foxtrot Yankee. So we're going to come off Yankee Foxtrot Delta Alpha. You've got to remember it's the reverse.
Edit. 8,617 meters. 8,606 meters.
I'm just keeps checking the distance,
8,577 meters.
and then when I get a bit closer,
40.
I'll cut these engines back down, so I slow down to about 25.
501 meters.
So at about anything above 400.
7,452 meters. 7,442. 7,433 meters. Throttle
that'll
set
do.
0. 38.
Set throttle to 0,
37,
slow down
37,
to 25
36,
now.
35, 34, 33, 7,350, 31, 29, 28, 28, 27, 26, 25. Choked off dash throttle 25.
Choke it off there. You can use the auto speed here as well, which I'll use in a minute.
6,275 meters.
Because we're at the opposite end of the runway to Alpha's behind us. So we'll turn on to Yankee, then we'll turn on to Foxtrot, and Foxtrot's going to be about 2 kilometres long. So I'm going to speed up along there so it doesn't take so long to taxi down there. And then I'll slow down just before I get to the end to turn on to Delta. And then we'll turn on to Delta, then on to Alpha. Then I'll show you a little trick that I know.
684 meters.
Yankee, right.
Right, so it's Yankee and you've got to turn to the right.
Yankee, right.
Direction of Yankee.
Yankee travels north-south.
Right.
So
110.
I'm going to be turning to 180
Yankee,
degrees.
right.
Right, let's turn to
120,
180.
140, 100, 160, 100,
9.
180, 184, 183,
29.
We're just a little bit close to the edge. Nothing to
180,
panic about though.
176, 176, 565, 32 meters.
We're going to turn on to Foxtrot. We're on
180,
Foxtrot, so we turn
190,
now.
200, 210,
Foxtrot,
Foxtrot travels
220,
east-west, so we're going to
230.
270,
Foxtrot,
241, 251,
which is west.
252, 261, 271, 274, 207, 200 west.
And now I'll check the length of the taxiway.
1,806 meters.
1,806 meters. So I'm going to set the speed. Set speed.
Set speed 55.
Set it to
Enter.
55 kilometers an hour because that's the fastest you can get this SAAB up to on the ground with taxi mode.
36/55 auto. 1,678 meters. 442 Foxtrot. 442 Foxtrot. 1,710 Foxtrot. 1,669 Foxtrot.
But
1,474
see,
meters.
I've already travelled 400.
53/55
See,
auto.
we're still speeding up. Takes a while to get to
54/55 auto.
55.
1,431 west. 1,396 meters.
Still got 1,396 meters taxiway left. So again, I'll start slowing down now that I'm doing
55/55 auto.
55. There we go. We finally reached it. Now that I'm doing 55, I'll slow down a bit earlier. And I just coast.
55.
But if you want to, you can type in this speed. So
55.
I'll show you that.
442 for 1,040 meters.
But it slows you down a lot quicker because it actually uses the brakes and everything to slow you down when you type in the auto speed.
943 meters.
But I will do the auto speed so you can see it.
873 meters.
So I'll type that in now. Set speed.
Set speed. Set speed edit 2. 5.
I will set it to 25,
55.
but I won't press enter.
721 meters. 695 meters.
But again, you can't press two buttons at once on the keyboard. So while that's typed in, you can't do anything unless you have a controller.
598 meters. 577 meters.
Right, so
549 meters.
got 549
55.
meters.
442 Foxtrot.
I'll do it at...
472 meters. 451 meters. 427 meters.
Alright, now I'll press enter and you'll hear it.
25. Enter. Edit.
So you cut the engines and it's doing brakes.
43/20, 38/20, 33/20, 26. 26.
And it choked us off at 26.
298 meters. 289 meters.
But what I normally do is I just set the engines to idle and I coast down to the speed I want, then I choke it off manually with that.
442 meters. 26.
Yep, so we're going to get to the end of here and it's going to say Delta, but because we're going at right angles basically, we don't turn until we get onto Delta. So until it stops beeping and it says Delta, do not turn to the left. Now we're going to turn to 180 again
Delta,
to head south,
115 meters.
Delta,
and then that's going to take us to
Delta.
Alpha. Then we'll turn left onto Alpha to
Delta,
head in.
Delta.
899
Right,
meters.
we're on Delta, so we
260
turn.
to 100, 200, 200, 200, 200, 100, 189, 186, 183,
Foxtrot.
182, 181, 183 meters, 178, 100, 108, 179, 100, 170, 100 south,
Right, we're now heading south.
319 delta,
We'll be approaching Alpha. This is Alpha coming up. Now what I'm going to do,
Alpha.
rather than head straight into the main area,
Alpha.
I'm going to turn right onto Mike,
Alpha.
left onto Zulu, go through one of the stands, and then back
Alpha.
to the main area that way.
219 meters,
Alpha.
Right, turn left.
100, 100, 100,
To
100,
90.
100, 100, 108, 102, 97, 87,
Delta.
87, 88,
Right,
Mike.
now we got Mike
90.
to our right, so we
100,
turn back to
110,
180 north,
100, 140.
south to head down Mike.
147, 150, 155, 100, 160, 170, 176, 180,
Mike.
181, 102
Mike.
alpha,
Now the reason I do
88
this is
79
because some of the big planes are really hard to turn around, so you don't want to head straight in and try turn around. So it's easier to turn onto Mike, turn onto Zulu, which will be now to my left, because this is Alpha.
Zulu.
There's Zulu.
180,
Now I turn
100,
to
100, 100,
90
100,
degrees
100,
again.
120, 100, 110, 107,
east.
Zulu.
99, 90, 89, 86, 86,
Now this plane can turn
87.
around quite quick, but I'm just doing it as a
90,
demonstration.
90 east,
So now what I do is I'm heading towards the stand area. So I'm going to go through here. You'll hear stand 1 come up on my left in a minute. I'll go through to about stand 2 or 3, and then I'll turn left and head back up into the main area.
Stand 1.
So that's stand 1. So if I was actually getting passengers off and I'd been
Stand
allocated
1.
stand 1,
26,
I would stop at stand 1. I'd turn into there, and then when I got in it, I would stop. But I don't have passengers. So right, we're now
Stand
heading through
2.
stand 2.
minus 48
I
Zulu,
just do this so I can turn around, get
Stand
back
2.
pointing to the west before I stop the plane. Right, so as soon as we get to stand 3, we're going to turn.
79, 69, 59,
To the
50,
north.
40, 30, 16,
Stand
11,
3.
9, 3, 358, 358,
Stand
We're actually going to
3.
head
Stand
through
3.
the stand.
6, stand 3,
See, we're in the
14,
stand.
stand 3.
Now we'd normally
24,
stop
stand 3, 37, stand 3, north,
to
Main
get
area.
people off. But we're now in the main
65
area,
72 main area,
and you've got to be at 150.
91 main area,
to head
98
out.
main area, 104 main area, 111 main area, 118 main, 123 main, 131 main, 300, 300,
Turn
300,
back to
300,
the west
310,
now,
200,
270.
200, 268, 200, 200 west, 151 main area,
Right, now
Throttle preset 0.
turn the engines off and hit the brakes, and we'll stop for the end of the
Dash.
flight.
dash, 4, dash.
There we go.
Flight completed. You have gained the qualification for a new plane.
Right, so I've got it. I won't do this as yet because I've got to pick an
Airport
airport.
selection
I'll just
dialog.
finish
Select
this up
airport combo
before
box.
we
Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi,
go
left, paren,
anywhere.
LMAA, right, paren.
But I'm going to,
S. St. Helena, Jamestown,
as per
St. Kitts
usual, I'm going to put this plane in Australia.
Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland, and
So we've got to get to the
Spain,
States.
Santiago, Spain, Seville, State
Just
of New
remember,
South
if you
Wales,
want to
Cox
fly
Harbour, left,
around
paren,
Australia,
YC,
you've got
State
to
of
do
New South Wales,
state.
Albury, left, paren, MA, right,
See how
paren.
it says State of New South Wales?
Spitsbergen and John Manlock, State of New South, State of New South Wales, State of New South Wales, State of New South Wales, State of Queensland, Brisbane, left, paren, State of Queensland, Bundaberg, left, paren, Ibid, right, paren.
I'll put this one in Bundaberg, but I'm not going to press enter yet. Yeah, I can. It'll just take us back to the menu where the music is. So that's that plane trained now. I now move up to the A300, which is a jet, a twin-engine jet.
Enter, dashboard.
Training.
3-Roderberg 69.
There we go. We're back to the main window. It only does that on the final flight. Otherwise, normally it would just put me back in the plane. So the last one doesn't even give you a report. But anyway, that's how you do a lot of new things. I hope I didn't flood you with too much information. But you can rewind it, watch it over and over. But that's pretty much the same way you do it from now on with all the planes. The Cat 2 and Cat 3 are very similar, but they just have a few subtle differences with flaps and things like that. There's different speeds, of course, and different engines. We do fly a 4-plane engine in Category 2, which is the Elysian 76 TD, I believe. That's a cargo plane which can take some passengers. So we will get to that one. But that's the SAAB 340. I hope you enjoyed your flight with me today. I did have a few boo-boos there. Just my voice commands weren't working, and I panicked a little bit because I was getting down close to the ground. I think we ended up at 500 meters above the ground at one stage. So that sort of, I started panicking. But that's the joys of the game. Things happen, and me using voice control can make things harder. So hopefully you've learned a few more things with this one. I'm Rauderberg69. I'm part of the Blind Gaming Club. We help other blind gamers out, and I will leave the link to our website in the description, and check us out. If you like this video, please like, subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you next time.